we're really keen on like understanding and like I get like part of it is like you have to go out and do it and you have to go out and figure it out.
Yep.
And so like many of the answers or like many of like the kind of like sentiment will be like, all right, well, like you just got to go take action. So we try to think of our questions in a way that like dive like unpack some things that maybe your conversation with Cross has like a little bit further, as well as trying to think like have some like ideas to back and forth. Maybe like, there's something of value to you that maybe you haven't thought of either, and like kind of have the take the conversation and in that direction.
Okay, sweet. So let's get specific here. Hit me with some questions. What do you guys got?
So for me, I just, obviously become an entrepreneur is, like I mentioned before, it's pretty scary, right? And so for me, it's just, what were some things that helped you deal with that fear? I know that's pretty subjective for a lot of people, but
no, it's a good question though, and I think it's a lot of people will get there's some value to think of this. I think a lot of this, it's hard to really pinpoint this because I think personally, I'm purebred for this. Like I think I'm fucking built for this. I have never ever been afraid of taking risks. But that doesn't mean it's not something you can learn, right? I think about it like, what's a good example? Okay, I was a musician growing up, right? Without patting my own back, I was a very good string bass player, like top of all-state musician 3 years in a row. I went to school for music performance for a while. I was very good at that. A lot of it was built on talent, straight up. Did I work my butt off? Of course, but the talent had a lot to do with being able to actually like enjoy it enough to really dive in and grind on it. But there was plenty of people I knew who were not as talented as I was that worked hard enough to get to where I was at. I was lucky enough, and it was actually a little bit of a detriment over time, that my talent got me as far as it did. Right? Mm-hmm. So I think the same thing, I think what comes with risk taking and entrepreneurship, there are people that are maybe a little more talented or built for that kind of risk analysis. And then some people just have to learn from it. So that's a long-winded way to say I'm not really sure. I think the best way to think about this though is like the cool thing about building a business, if you're careful in the early stages, as long as you don't as long as you don't get to like I'm spending all this money because it's coming in, right? If you're slow and methodical and money comes in, don't spend it. Like that's the game. Money comes in, don't spend it. Mm-hmm. If you do that for long enough and well enough, the business builds itself. Mm-hmm. How big it gets is where the talent comes into play, or how much you learn, or how much you actually get into it. But at the end of the day, every business is just make more money than you spend. Mm-hmm. So I think from a risk analysis standpoint, man, is like, are you guys planning on quitting your jobs? Is that what we're talking about here? That's really the fear, right?
I don't know if saying that we're planning on that. Like we
want it to be that.
Like that's a desirable outcome, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So but you don't have to. You don't have to quit your jobs. So my thing is like, what are you afraid of?
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
And it makes sense, and like it's like the difference between him and I. It's like I tend to be more of the risk taker between the two of us. But at the same time, like stages of life, like he's like OG dad status, like from way back when he became a dad, and I'm a fresh dad, like my not fresh, but like my son just turned 2.
Yeah.
And so like there's implications to like making these huge sweeping changes and taking these big swings at this stage of like my family building life. And like I'm really keen on understanding, like I get when you're 23 and you're building a marketing firm and taking all the risk in the world, but like I'm also keen on understanding like the risk and the fear that came from like, all right, like I have a wife and I got a family and I got to deal with, and like you kind of like went into that a little bit, and like with Gary and all that, but like I'd love to learn a little bit more about your the decision point, because it sounds like you're still doing the full-time work as well, like with
Yeah.
the marketing company, and you're still juggling those, and so it didn't end up materializing as like, all right, like all in. I'm not gonna.
Well,
I'm
let
gonna
me
quit
tell
the
you.
job.
Let me tell you, because it was a little bit different, and I want to do this. Can y'all scoot over a little bit? I feel like I'm getting half your face.
Oh,
We got to see your beautiful mug there, man. There we go. All right. No, so yeah, I mean, this is an interesting, because I mean, obviously, when you watch the Gary clip and he says quit your job, like, I get a lot. Have you quit your job? Have you quit your job yet? And I would think Gary's a pretty smart guy. What he was giving me was not advice, go quit your job. What he was doing is telling me you're fine. Because he knows I was not looking for should I quit my job. What he was looking for is, he knew I was looking for validation. Am I doing the right things? And by him saying, go quit your fucking job, he's saying, you doing it right. Like, what are you worried about? Right? So
Right.
I really think about it. And so what I did to answer the question on this, instead of quitting, I started taking more risk. I started pushing a little bit harder. I bought a work truck so that I have a crew now that can go and do jobs without me on the weekdays, right? We got a little bit of a mix up happening there right now, but like that's the kind of the moves that I started making. Plus, now we're doing this licensing program that I'm pouring a lot of time into. So I think it was more of just a validation of like, yes, it's working. Keep doing what you're doing. Like, don't look back and wonder, like, is this the right thing to be doing? He's basically telling me you're on the right path. Don't stop. That's how I kind of interpreted that long term. As far as everything else, man, like, I understand the hesitation because like I have 3 kids. They're very little. My wife is not a risk taker like I am. And so there's a little bit of that, but there's also very little risk that I'm taking at the moment. The only thing I'm really risking is my time. Because I could look back in 20 years and say, man, I wish I was doing something else. I doubt it, because this is the thing that I would be wanting to do, So as far as everything else, man, like, I mean, unless you're putting up don't put your house up, if it's a little bit money here and there that you can spend in other places that you would, like, instead of getting DoorDash and spending $50 on McDonald's, like maybe we spend $50 in Facebook ads. That's the kind of shift, I think. If you start thinking about that, then it's less about risk and more it's just like, well, we were going to throw this money away basically before. Why don't we use it for something that actually becomes an investment? So from a risk standpoint, I don't think you're really taking any yet.
Right.
Fair?
yeah.
Yeah. It makes a lot of sense. And I feel like I'm in a similar position where it's like I'm worried about my family and like all the like burden that's going to come onto them from like me giving my time or like reallocating my time in this and like navigating that. And like I don't want it to be forever. I don't want to be grinding like 7 days a week, like all day kind of thing for years and years. I want it to scale to a place where, we have something that's sustainable and we can find a better work-life balance. But, I know that I got to, respect my wife in terms of like making sure that she's on board and she like understands like in the short term, I feel like it's going to take a lot of sacrifice.
Have you talked to her?
Sometimes. Yeah.
Is she aware?
She's aware that we're doing this. Like,
Hey, you never know, man.
we're him and I like talking to each other like almost every day, anyways, before all this, and so like she's aware. Like at the same time, like once the rubber hits the road, it's different, right? Like we can do all the pre-framing in the world, but it's like being a parent, right? It's like you hear about being a parent from other friends or from your parents and that type of stuff, but once that first diaper's full of shit and or you like then you're really dealing with it.
Yep.
And so it's like getting to that stage. And like, the thing that resonated with me is when you were talking about kind of like your decision to hire, help and delegate and that type of stuff, because you wanted to get some time back and like balance things a little bit more. And,
Whoa. Let me stop. It wasn't I wanted the time. Let's make that clear. And not in a and like that, maybe that makes me look shitty for a moment, but like it's the reality. I could do this 7 days a week easy and enjoy it. But I know that I have emotional responsibilities more than, you know, my wife was just not happy. She was not happy that I was gone that much, and so I had to figure that out. And that's the key. Here's the thing: everything is just fucking figuring it out. There's no right way or wrong way to do this. This is like, and he was talking about this recently. It's like literally anything you do, whether it's business or relationships or school or not school or, you know, however, it's just figuring it out. Even with marriage, like, are you guys married?
I am.
Yeah.
No.
So you're not, but look, but it doesn't matter. We've all had relationships before, right? Like,
Oh yeah.
it's just figuring it out. Sometimes shit doesn't work and we have to fix it. That's just, it's just as how it goes. And here's the thing too. You may get into this, love it for 5, 6, 7 years, and you may wake up one day and say, I don't want to do this anymore. Like, shit just changes. So I think it's just like, if you're feeling it, I think this is just how I work because I'm ADD. If you're feeling it, go do it and see if you still feel it. And then just do whatever your heart desires on this. Like, this is the big thing on this. Like, if you want to do it, like, just, I don't know, just fucking do it. I don't like, it seems so simple to me, but it's such like a weird thing we do where we want it to all work and mesh together like this perfect little puzzle. But like, nothing in life is like that.
Yeah.
Nothing. And business especially, because fuck, business will throw you a curveball like every day. You know, you deal with it.
Yeah.
So,
That makes sense.
No, I 100% understand that. Let's dive nitty gritty here. You guys are thinking March. When's your job? This is a want to be. You don't have a job booked yet, right?
No, we
Right.
don't have a job booked. We're, we took some notes again from your last sort of, episode, and so we're planning on doing that, right? Like whether it's like doing the stuff, social media and stuff, and like here's what we're doing. We fiddle with the idea, like you want to talk about the idea that we were talking.
Yeah. So we have a good friend, and his parents are getting up there in age.
Mm-hmm.
And they have a garage full of memories, junk, everything in between. And so at the end of your podcast across, you were talking about doing a job, but doing it for free.
Yep.
And record it from start to finish. And so we figured, well, hey, if we're going to do a job for free, and get some get some marketing out of it, why not help a friend?
Yeah, 100%.
And so we're thinking that's where our first job will be.
I love that so much, and I'm so glad that last video had some value on this, because I really do think that's the play, especially if you're just starting. Because like when you're starting out, no one really trusts, are you going to get the job done? Right? So just that social proof of being able to actually get a job done and show them through that, I think is huge. And the number two, I think they need to know who you guys are. I think that's big. I have noticed recently that when I run ads that don't have me in it, they perform worse. Now, maybe it's because the other videos were garbage. That's possible. But I think there's something to be said for, that's the guy that's coming to do this, right? Or that's the guy, even if you're not coming, like that's the guy running the show, and they have some sense of relief because they can attach a name to it. This is really interesting to think about too. We think about these big companies, these faceless big companies, right? And how much do we actually trust them?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I think that's starting to kind of really come into an interesting place now, because we live in this influencer world where you get to see the person running the show and he's the guy talking about it. I think that, and that's kind of the reason why I'm doing all this. Like, I want people to know I'm the guy running the show here. It's not just some company somewhere up in the cloud, right? I think that's huge, and I think that would be good for y'all. Like, y'all have an interesting story. This is what we're doing. This is why we want to do it. Here's a job we did for free. I think that'd be cool. So I think that would be a good start.
Yeah. Well, like as far as like so like getting the whole like time lapse of it all, like are you doing that with your phone or are you doing like with like proper camera and
Just a phone. A phone. Yeah. I'll be honest with you. Your phone probably records better than a lot of cameras on the market.
Oh yeah.
Like unless you get like a really really nice camera, I mean most phones are better than most cameras because they'll sell you a $30-$40 camera, but they're garbage. Your phone's $1,200. They put some money in that camera,
Yep.
you know. So 100%. And then like a lot of the cameras have neat features too. Like mine has a time lapse feature
Mhm.
where you can just click it on and go. You guys are lucky you have two phones because you can do two things now. You can have your time lapse going, and periodically you're going on a selfie and saying like, here I don't know, like what will happen? Oh hey, you know here's a box we had that broke. We're gonna have to replace this with a tote over here. We just got these totes come in. Let's go ahead and get these replaced. Those videos just because then they just becomes like a bunch of content for you.
Mhm.
That's how I think about that. It's like if you can record everything that happens, and then you just start posting it, I think that starts playing out for you pretty quickly.
okay.
Well.
Yeah, and so while we go down this thread a little bit, like, you know, because we have like lead sourcing as like some general ideas and like thoughts, and like some of this, you know, we presume will be a little bit more baked. Like, you know, one thing that we're wondering about is like your demographics. Like, what are your target demographics? And like you're like the split out between like the different targets and like the distribution of those demographics.
So it varies a little bit. I think my favorite clients demographically are like 50 plus.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what we were thinking too. We're like, we
Yes.
can really serve them. Like just a little bit about our own background. Like we've done like jobs like this in the past. Like there's always been these moments where people in our lives would be like, "Oh, Mike, you used to be a mover. Why don't you come move my shit?" Or like, "Oh,
Yeah.
Kyle, you know, you're just super organized." Like he's the guy in our friend group has a backpack right everywhere, and he's always like carrying all our shit for us and keeping everything organized. Like he doesn't even have a trash can in his office. I asked him a second ago if he has a trash can, but he's so organized that he doesn't even have a trash can in here. That's absurd.
wild. You should see the rest of my room here. It's a mess.
Yeah, and so like, you know, but like a lot of it was born out of like us always saying yes to the people we care about in our lives, and that's like at the same time like caring about folks that are having trouble with that type of stuff. Like
Mhm.
it just, I think it fires up and motivates us to see the relief that comes from, you know, folks that are either overwhelmed and it's certainly like higher in age where they have a tougher time, and they, you know, they've got these things from their parents, the greatest generation. Maybe they're in that boomer stage where they have just accumulated things over time. And it's like, can we serve you, be respectful, give you a great experience, and then serve our family at the same time? Like that's really kind of the demographic we're looking at too.
Yeah, and that's 100%. Those are my favorite clients. They're so grateful. You know, they have plenty of stuff to go through. I mean, they need the help for sure. But it's just the biggest thing is they're so freaking grateful. They're so happy that someone came in was able to help them with this stuff because most people won't touch it. So I think that's you guys are on the right track for you guys to be thinking about that. Now we still get a lot of, you know, there's that, and then there's maybe a little bit younger, you know, 35 plus, 40, who are just well off and want their time. They want to pay for the time back because they don't want to do it. Right? That's another really good client most of the time. They're just like, I don't want to mess with this. Can you guys come and clean it out, organize it? Those guys tend to be like, we get the most stuff that we sell from that kind of client, because they're like, yeah, I don't really need that lawnmower anymore. You can take it. Just get it out of here. And then I'm going to go sell it for $180. So yeah, 100%. That's a great demographic. And that's why I spend so much time on Facebook, because it's aged up. Facebook is just older now. So for anyone that was giving me shit about this, like, that's why, damn it. I know what I'm doing.
Yeah, because I assumed you had like targeted ads, not only by like zip codes and things like that, but also just like in certain demographics where you would just serve them the best. So okay, no, that's awesome. Thank you. Other questions? You got hit that one.
So Do you, how about like slow seasons? Do you experience that? I mean, maybe the winter
Yeah.
and fall time, right? Like,
Yeah.
so
I'll
like, how do you kind of navigate that?
Yeah, so I'll be honest with you. We did not navigate it well. Like, so, I mean, remember, we're not even a year old yet. We're just getting started. So a lot of these things I'm still figuring out. Slow season was slow. It kicked my ass. I'll be honest with you. I was not ready for that. I will say I'm thinking about it already.
Yeah,
And
like what
how I'm
you're
going to deal with it next time. Some of the stuff I've thought about, there's a lot of diversification that could happen around that time. I am dabbling right now with the idea of doing something with the like decorations. I don't know if that means that we're putting lights up. Like there's a lot of that. I've seen some models where people are storing your Christmas decorations for you over the course of the year. There's like some sort of subscription model for it. That's, again, I don't know, having this fleshed out yet, but you take down their Christmas decorations, and then whenever Christmas comes back around, they're paying you a monthly fee. You go put it back up for them the way it was set up the first time, and then they never have to touch it. That's very much your higher end, clients that just want their time back, right? Because that could be, if when we're talking Christmas decorations, most people are not like me. I got like one or two little decorations out here because I got to participate. But there are some people that get crazy.
Yeah.
And that could be a big, big contract for like, they're going to pay you $1,500 to just take their decorations down, and then another $1,500 to go put them back up the next year. Right? Like I think that could work out. Same thing with Christmas lights, I think is huge. But I also think there's a lot of like other diversification options that over time flesh itself out. Like I'm thinking about, how do I launch a maid service? That's a year-round thing. How do I launch a lawn care service that can bolster my busy season and even do more so that the slow season doesn't hit us as much? There's a lot that I'm thinking about on then, but yes, slow season does exist. And I think it's just no one wants to go out in their garage when it's cold.
Yeah.
Especially where you guys are at. It gets colder up there, We're in Texas.
That's absolutely the root of our question, because like in the wintertime it's rainy. It's like, all right, like are we setting up canopies like out in the driveways and like making sure that keeping things dry? And it's like there's some logistical things we got to navigate, and certainly obviously just trying to think a little bit more midterm in terms of like planning and trying to like one thing that came to mind that I was playing with is like having like a recurring like garage cleaning service where it's like maintenance wise, right? Versus people have like house cleaning services all the time, but it's like, what about the garage, like once a month, once a quarter kind of thing, to help with the the slow and show that like even the line out.
Yeah, you could 100% do that. For some people that would hit for some people for sure. But yeah, like I said, it's like everything else. You just fucking figure it out. You guys are in Seattle. It rains a lot. Guess what would be a really fucking cool investment? A canopy that's branded. People drive down and you have this giant canopy with your freaking logo on it. I think would be huge, and you're going to use it a lot. So it seems like a smart investment for me. But yeah, I mean, that is a lot of it, especially. And this is where like, I'm glad you guys are thinking about this, because a lot of home service companies do not think about this. They're like, I'm going to make all my money in the summer, and then I'll just, I don't know, like wait out the winter. Like you'd be surprised how many people I've talked to that's their strategy. So it is really good that you guys are thinking about that. But wait, let me back up here for a moment. We're gonna side panel this. Where are you guys from?
Where are we from?
Yep.
Born and raised.
No, not for, like, where are you guys at?
So we're in Renton, Washington, which is like 15 minutes south of Seattle.
Okay, there we go. Yeah, that's what I like. So whenever you guys are doing the ads, that's what you need to say.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. There's not a lot of garages in Seattle, I feel like, that we want to touch. I mean, we'll for sure, there's certainly like parts of Seattle that we'll go to for sure.
But talking about diversification, back into this, there's work. There's something going on I mean, there's just too much. There's too many people for there not to be something going on. I could very quickly see you getting into what does the commercial world look like? Right? Are there warehouses that need to be moved, or there someone's like a moving out? Like you guys have a big apartment, ecosystem up in Seattle, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be interesting too. Can you get in with these, the community or the apartment gatekeepers, whoever they are, that are like, hey, we had someone move out, they left some shit here, we need to clean it out. Like, what does that look like? That could be interesting very quickly. Because there's a lot of that. There's the other thing too, like whenever someone gets evicted or they move out suddenly and they decide to leave all their stuff at the dumpsters, like who's handling that side of it? Like there's plenty of contracts to be made in that world too, on the commercial side. I would also like to say I've been to Seattle one time, and I was super impressed with how clean those alleys were. I don't.
How long ago were you here?
Yeah. So what year was it?
That's fair. I don't know how long ago it was. I just remember, like, me and my wife, we went for a honeymoon, and we're walking down the street, and we look down an alley, and it's like spotless, and we're like, "Holy shit! They've got their shit together over here."
No shit, you went to Seattle for your honeymoon? I think you're the first person I've ever met that talked about coming to Seattle for a honeymoon.
I don't. I wanted to go Hawaii.
Okay, there we go. Makes sense.
That's the more common in Hawaii.
Yeah, my wife, but we had a blast in Seattle. We really did. We went to we had some sushi, which was great. We went to some jazz bars we found. What else did we do? We went on a ferry. We were going to go see a whale. Didn't see one fucking whale. Was pissed about that. But yeah, we had a blast. But yeah, we went to Seattle for that. But I don't know. Long story short, back to, because again, I'm ADD. I'll go off on a tracks like this. There's plenty of like commercial stuff if you get far enough into Seattle. If you guys get real fucking serious, like there are plenty of business you could get into on the B2B side for sure. It's just different world when you get into B2B, because now you're talking contracts, your insurance. How does all this, what kind of you're gonna fill out vendor paperwork? There's a lot on that side of it, but there's a lot of money that can be made on that side too. So plenty of business on that. All right, what else?
Speaking on insurance, I know obviously every state is different, right? But since we're focusing really on residential side, is that something, or can you kind of talk about that in general? Like, did you have to?
Yeah, but you have insurance to like cover your employees when they're doing work. Like, is it different tiers of insurance to have to cover the employees versus just yourself when you were doing jobs? Like,
yeah, and it depends on how you want to do it, right? So like, you can't, if you have W-2 employees, like that gets interesting, because there are some insurance requirements depending on where you live. Like every state's a little bit different. What are those requirements are? When we first started, I had no insurance. Like, don't take this advice, because I'm probably the worst person to take advice on that side of it from, but that's just how I operate. I want to get in it. I want to feel it. I want to solve problems as they come. Is that the smartest way? No, probably not. But when we first started, like I said, no insurance. We did get insurance later. You just call around and ask who does commercial insurance, and they'll walk you through the process. A lot of them are going to label you under junk removal. Okay. You'll need to have that conversation. Because it was a weird conversation I had with the insurance people. They're like, so you're junk removal. I'm like, no, we spend a majority of our time in garages organizing them. It's just like, so you're maid service. No, that's not really it either, but they'll work with you and figure out how that works. But yes, I do think it's a smart thing to do when you start getting rolling. I don't think it's a smart thing to do before you have your first job.
Sure.
Right. Especially if the first job you're doing is, a friend.
Right.
Like, hopefully your friend's not going to sue you.
Right. We'll see. No, just kidding. And then you mentioned like W-2s and like 1099. Like, did you start with 1099 employees and then work to a W-2, or like what did that look like when you scaled?
Yeah, we did nothing but 1099s for a while. Yeah. That's how we started. And honestly, it's probably a good idea to even like start there for a while. The only reason I went to W-2 is because I had a guy that was sticking around for a while, He was around. He kept showing up. He kept doing his gig, and I wanted to give him something, you know, for real. And I've got another one on W2 as well, who she does my sales for me now. But like, you only do that when you're ready to commit, because at W2 there's taxes involved. There's a lot that goes onto that. Otherwise, I always think about it as in contractors.
Okay.
Again,
And that-
don't take this as legal advice because I am not a lawyer, but that's just how we approach it today.
That like kind of leads us to like one of the other questions. Like, what growth indicators did you notice that gave you the confidence that you could reliably support that staff with consistent work? Is it like obviously there's them, part of it is them sticking around for a while, but like there's also like that's a mouth that you're responsible for now, and you got to take care of it. You got to make sure they're fed. You got like, what was the scale of the business to where like I know that they can be paid, you know, well, and you know, for the good work that they do?
You don't. I mean, especially early on, like there's no real. I mean, until you get booked out, like, you know, you're going to have jobs coming for the next 3 months. You can't promise shit to anybody. This is the difficult part. And I think what is difficult about, you know, finding people in the early stages, because it's going to be sporadic. You're going to have one job this week, then you'll have 3 jobs next week. And then the next week you're going to have like 8 jobs booked, and you got to figure out how to get them all done. And then the next week you're going to have 0 jobs. Like, it fluctuates so much in the early stages because you don't have real proof over time. You're not spending a fuck ton of money on advertising yet, like, to continue that process. And it's just going to build up over time. So it is very difficult to say, hey, come on board, I'm going to give you 40 hours a week. You just can't promise that. You know, and I would highly suggest no one, you know, you don't promise that early on until you get to a place where you're seeing months and months and months of consistent full 40-hour weeks. There's really no way you can promise that to people, you know? But even then, like, even if you get to months and months and months of 40 hours a week, it could just fall off a cliff one day. Again, this is just how the business world works, right? So to answer your question, man, I have no idea. Like, there's no real way to know until it's just happening. That's all you can do. I think with what you guys are talking about, we're probably talking. You guys are doing the same thing I was doing early on, where you're 9 to 5 Monday through Friday, right? And then weekends you're doing this. Yeah. So what I would do is not what I did. Right? I would go hard on trying to book the weekends up. Every weekend. I mean, like, you try and get 3 months out where you're booked every weekend. And you know that those jobs are going to come in. Then you know what they're coming for. Now, that's going to be hard to do, but I think that would be what I would aim for at first. Then someone can take a sick day and say, hey, you know, let's try and book this Monday and see if we can get a couple jobs, and just have it planned out. And you got to plan it far ahead, and just, you know, one of y'all is going to have to get the flu on Monday and take a crew out to go do the job. Like, it's just going to be slow and painful for a while, but like, it's there, it's doable. The way I did it was, I would not do it the way I would do it again. You know, I just jumped too quickly into, we had jobs coming in. I wanted to start going on the weekdays, and I found a guy who was like, yeah, I'll take whatever you can give me. Like, he just happened to be the kind of guy that didn't care if it was 40 hours a week or not. You know? Well, and then he did. And this is, again, it all changes, right? This is saying earlier, I have a mix-up happening in my crew world right now, because the guy that was running the crews for a while, he found a better job. Shit changed for him. So now I've got to rethink how I'm doing all this, right? It's shit ebbs and flows. That's it.
Interesting.
Cool. So I recall on your podcast with Cross, you know, you mentioned using Facebook groups a lot when looking, you know, for workers. You know, so how was, like, how did that go for you? You know, like, how was that process? Like, how do you vet these people that, you know, come to you looking for work?
I love this question so much because I vet like fucking zero. Well, I just don't. I mean, like, what? Here's really all I'm looking for is like, hey, or do you want a job? Like, yeah. You know, how much are you paying? Like, we talk about that, and I just like it's a gut instinct. Like, look, am I a shitty person for doing this? Because I'm gonna tell you what I do. They send me a message on Facebook. I go look at their profile. This guy looks like he's reliable.
They do that in the corporate world too.
Yeah. I'm like, and I hate, but this is what I do. If I go on and like, I hate this because I talk about you shouldn't give a shit that much, but I'll go on to if I see you smoking a blunt in your Facebook profile, I'm probably not going to hire you. You know, like I'm not interested in having my guys high on the job. Like I don't want to have to explain that. So that's literally what I do. I go on, I get a message, guy says he's looking for work, I go check out his profile, looks solid, boom, when can you come tomorrow? That's it. Because there's no amount of questions you can ask that's going to get you to the like who they are. They're just not. You know, you can ask a million questions, but you'll never know what they're like until they're in it doing it.
Yeah. And then along those lines, did you find that like the wage, because you said that you pay like 18 something bucks an hour, and I saw like in Plano, Texas, it's like $7 an hour, 7 something an hour is like the minimum wage. Is that like one of the things you use to like hopefully try to find a little bit more like quality work and like, you know, filter that just a bit?
Yeah. So where I'm at, it's really interesting. Minimum wage in Texas doesn't mean shit out here. Like I can't, at least where I'm at, minimum wage is $7.25 out here. No one would take a job for $7.25 out here. Nobody. Yeah. They just don't exist. Most people out here, you're looking at 15 plus an hour. I pay 18 because I want good employees. Right. That's it. You know, I could pay 15. I could find people that'll work for I could find people that'll work for 10. Right? But I'm also thinking about I want them for the long haul. And if I can pay them 18 and they continue showing up and they continue doing it, then that's what I want, you know? But it just depends on where you're at. Like you got to look at that. You're going to have to do a little bit of research and figure out what's the going rate for. Here's a really good gauge. Go figure out what McDonald's is hiring at. And you'll be surprised because they usually pay really well.
Yeah.
The minimum wage out here is like $22 an hour. So
and so like, is that where the going rate is at? Are people paying minimum wage out there?
I looked on the Facebook groups, and it seemed like people were going like were posting for like roughly close to $30 an hour for like labor type work. It didn't specify the type of work, but it seemed to be like in that range. So like, you know, basically, you know, 50% more than like the minimum is like roughly the range. And so the scale, you know, I didn't know if the scale translated because it's $7 there, but you're paying like, you know, over 2x for that. But it makes more sense. It's like $15 an hour is roughly the actual, you know, minimum wage for you, and you have like a percentage of that. That makes sense.
Yeah. So what I would do if the going rate out there seems to be $30 an hour, you need to bake that into your costs. Like any other business that does this, what they're going to do is they're going to figure out I'll do this right now with you guys. If I'm having to pay my guys $30 an hour and I need 3 guys, that means I'm paying $90 an hour in labor. So multiply that times 4, and I'm looking at labor alone. I am 30. What is it?
360.
God, my math is awful. Holy crap. What did you say it was?
360.
360. Oh, duh. I was going the other way. Anyway, all right. So you're 360 on labor. That is like your that's you're not going, you go under 360, you're losing money. You don't have a choice. And it's probably going to be more than that because, I mean, you have to make a profit, period. Right? So that's your 4-hour gig. Well, now, like, do you have a truck? Do you have a trailer? Are you guys renting that stuff? So you're probably going to have to rent. That's going to have to get baked in. Then you got to figure out what your profits are on top of that. Right. So you're just going to have to bake it into that stuff. The labor stuff, you're just going to have, like I said, I mean, if you're smart about it, you'll find and what happens in most of these areas too, you're not the only one doing this. This isn't magic. Like what I just did is not like, this is basic business shit.
Mhm.
Everyone else in the area is charging a premium too, because they have to. They don't have a choice, especially if minimum wages out there is $22.
Mhm.
People, my friends here in Texas are probably freaking the fuck out. Minimum wage is $22.50.
Yeah, but our gas is like $5 a gallon. So.
Yes. But yeah, I mean, you'll find people for sure. I mean, just if you're gonna pay, and then you just see if it works. I'm paying $30 an hour for this gig. If you're interested, shoot me a message.
Okay.
You know,
And that feels like a little bit more midterm, like maybe after 6 months of us doing weekend jobs and stuff like that, and like building a bankroll, investing back in the business. But like I hear you. We should build it into the model at least now, so that way when we figure out our pricing, then it comes into that point. So that
if
leads
you
me to
price it
another
out,
question.
and this is what I would do now. I would price it out as if I was hiring 3 people, and then
Right, yeah.
like that's just extra money for you in the beginning, right?
Yeah.
And then maybe you hire one guy. I don't know.
Mhm.
For a little bit that comes here and there, or maybe it's just y'all. Like that's cool too.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it's just y'all forever. Because I'll be honest with you, if you price it right and you guys are taking home 100% of the profits, there's a case to be made where you might make more money doing that than you know what I mean? As long as you're booked out.
Yeah.
Right.
But like you, my friend, I have a wife that values time and values balance and
Yeah.
and so,
Well,
so
hey, I'll be honest with you, there's no better balance than being off 5 days a week.
yeah.
True.
Are you kidding me? You could take home like your salary for 2 days a week.
hmm
I don't see anything wrong with that. If that's the world you want to live in, like anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see, what else do we have here? Do you have like a hard stop at like kind of like the hour mark?
Like time of day?
Like yeah, as far as like for like just chatting through things, do you have like a hard stop that you're?
Oh, you're talking about for tonight.
Yeah.
No, I do not. I mean, we don't want to go on and on forever and ever, but we'll kind of find a natural stopping point here in a bit.
Okay, cool. So for like lead sourcing, have you like what are your thoughts on like partnering with like home organizers that don't do necessarily the garage piece, or like real estate agents or like home stagers? Like, is that something that you've thought about and played with as far
I
as
think
an
it's
idea?
a great idea. I mean, it's not something I've done, but like I think it's a great idea. Why not? It's always like do all the things, and see what works. Because like if you spend 3 months trying to talk to realtors and they don't give you a single fucking job, guess what? It's not working. Let's try something else.
Stop.
That's it. I mean, but you try everything and see what works and what doesn't. Because it's different. Even if I had 10 years of experience in this market, I still would not be able to give you a good answer to that because I have no idea how your market operates.
Right.
Because it could
That's
be
fair.
different.
Makes sense.
I think you do all the things and figure it out from there.
Cool. So, how are you preparing for spring cleaning? We assume that's kind of springtime.
But I'm like,
Ad campaigns, seasonal marketing. Like, what are you doing?
oh, I thought you was like, am I running a mile every day or what? Yeah, so we actually just launched a new set of ads this morning for just kind of basically for the kind of spring season coming up. A lot of it's the same messaging. Our messaging does not change very often. Your garage look like shit, we'll come clean it. Like the messaging could not be cleaner. So I think for us, it's just always about just refreshing the creative. How do we go different directions? Can we do this differently? Like the one I recently posted was kind of a repeat of one of my first videos of me like doing my selfie in my garage. It was me doing a selfie in a client's garage with kind of the same thing. Like, hey, we're here cleaning the garage out. If your garage looks like you've got junk in your garage, you want us to clean this out, give us a call, we'll do it. Boom. That's it. Sweet, short and sweet to the point. I have a question here on TikTok that I'm going to answer here real quick, and you guys may get this out of this. This guy asks, this is Josh Bissanu? I'm murdering that. How do you judge how to price a garage? What do you look for? This is a good one. So we internally internally, we go off of how many hours we think it's going to take. So if I'm looking at a garage and I think that, we've done the walkthrough and they say they want everything, reorganized and they have this stuff needs to get trashed. If I'm looking at it and I'm like, yeah, this is going to take my guys about 4 hours. We like we did earlier with the labor cost, I'm baking in that 4 hours of labor plus 2 extra hours if we have a junk removal, if we've got to go to the dump. So now I'm budgeting 6 hours total. And I'm putting on my fuel costs. I'm putting on how much it costs for the truck, which it doesn't cost me anything really, but and then I'm whatever the trailer costs, putting that all together, and then boom, tacking on my margin. However much the margin profit-wise is whatever the market will bear. If you can only afford to do 10-20% margin, that's just the market you're in. I'm lucky enough to be in a place where I can charge 50% margin, right? So that's it. I'm just basing it off of it's how much is it going to cost me? How much money do I want to make?
And that's that's the business today. Was that also like in the earlier stages? Like I'm sure that there's some sort of like quoting estimate component, but like you had to figure out how long these things would take roughly,
100%.
or like
no, 100%. This is the other thing too. You don't really know, and I don't know a way to figure this out. If someone has a better idea, a way to do this, it'd be great. There's no way of knowing how long a job is going to take until you have the experience of seeing it and knowing what it's going to take. That's it. Because there's too many variables when it comes into this. You could go into some that are completely full, and the guy's like, I don't care about any of this stuff. I just want my garage cleaned out. I want it all gone. And that's going to be a quick job. You could go into another job that's half the size with half as many boxes, but the lady wants to go through every single box and look at every little item. So I just don't think I can't see a way to accurately price this stuff without just having the experience of going in and knowing it. Because every garage looks different. It's different stuff. It's not like junk hauling where I know half my trailer cost X, Y, and Z. Like we're talking about time now, and it's almost like white glove service. So you're a little bit into that world. It just becomes different. So it's really difficult to do it until you just get in it and you fuck up a few times.
Okay.
So
unpacking that a little further. So like, sounds like you got the base services that like the core business is around garage cleanup organization. And then you have like the things you mentioned, factoring in truck costs, that type of stuff. And then like, do you have like other add-on services that you have as an option for customers when they want like more than what that base includes, or do you just have it real simple, like clean up whatever you need done, and by the end of it? And then also the junk haul itself, you said it was 2 hours. Does that like include the cost of like actually like dumping it, or is that like a kind of a separate cost that customers have to get invoice for, pay for, like as far as the dumping amount? Because like dense stuff is going to cost way more than like a bunch of cardboard and shit.
Well, I mean, the way our place does it is it's by weight.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So when we just do it based on when I say I charge a dump fee, I charge what the max is going to be. So like I know when I go, it might cost me $50 to dump. Sometimes it may cost me $100 to dump because it's all by weight. Very rarely do you get someone I think they have like a ton. It's like once you go over a ton of trash, now you're paying a little bit more, like whatever that premium size is. I would have to clean 10 garages to get to a ton of trash. That's 2,000 pounds. You're not getting anywhere near that. For most places. So I charge $100 as the dump fee that gets baked into our haul fee, right? So we have the garage clean out with all the labor baked in, and then my dump fee is a different thing. My dump, like a haul away fee, is the 2 hours of labor plus my dump fees plus my trailer rental. All that's baked into another line item, because sometimes they don't want you to haul stuff away. Sometimes they just want you to come clean the garage out and organize it.
Mhm.
And so we just don't charge that hall fee, and then boom, we just clean the garage out, and I still charging my 4 hours and making the money off that, but I don't have to go get dumped. So, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. So talking about a little bit about the organization aspect of it. So when you're quoting that when you're on site initially, right? Um, and so how does that pricing model look like for you? I mean, how do you decide what kind of storage equipment or what kind of,
Like how to organize
to
it in the
organize it.
garage. Like,
Mhm.
like, do they need to already have shelves? Like, is that just like a game plan you have with the customer as far as like organizing?
Yeah,
Yeah,
sometimes you get in it with the client and kind of figure out what do you want, what's the plan here? What are you wanting to happen? And we'll kind of guide them through like this is what we think is going to happen here. Like, well, this is where one of the add-ons we do is we include shelves and storage if they want that stuff. If we want to pick up shelves and storage, we'll do that for the clients as well. Sometimes they bring them with them, or sometimes they have stuff they just want to use themselves. Those are definitely add-ons you can include. But yeah, you have to game plan it. The problem is it's hard to know what the game plan is until you get into it. Because you could sometimes they have no idea what they want done. They just want it to be better. And so that's where like the onus comes on us to go in and like we'll start cleaning stuff out halfway through. We're like, okay, now we know what we're going to do. Let's pull the client out and let's have a chat. And we'll go halfway through and say, okay, here's what we're thinking now. And they're like, sounds great. Let's do it.
Okay.
Okay, cool.
Well, perfect. That like leads us into like so our next like questions as far as like the customers themselves, right? So like we remember that like time constraints are a big thing for sure. But like wondering like how do you navigate the sensitivity of like customer sentiment versus like meeting your target job time estimate? Because like obviously you want to be sensitive to it. You don't want to like just push them along, but at the same time like there's this running clock and like do you have to then charge more because we were underestimated? And like I know you said you play it safe. If you think it's a 7-hour job or 6-hour job, then you'll do 8 or something like that. Is that like does that account for all that, or just like we don't want to disrespect anybody in terms of their stuff, and sometimes their stuff is can be really really close to them.
Yeah, I think it's being incredibly honest with them about it, right? If you're getting into it and you're noticing that they're going to slow us down, and this is hard to do. This is easier said than done, but sometimes the conversation needs to have like, hey, I know you want to go through this stuff. Maybe we can come up with a better way to do this, because if we keep going the direction we're going, we're going to be here till next week. Maybe not use that last bit because that's a little snarky, but you see what I'm saying, right? Like, and sometimes it's an older lady like, hey, ma'am, I understand you want to go through all this stuff. We do have a hard stop that we're going to have to stop at X, Y, and Z time. If you'd like, what we can do is anything you want to go through, we'll put in a separate section for you. And you can kind of do some homework on there and kind of it's just kind of figuring out from there. This is the best way. You do have to be careful about that, because there are clients that will do that.
Yeah.
We've had several, and I've literally had to make a call before to the client because my guy didn't want to tell her. And so I had to call her and let her know, like, hey, I understand that, my guys are telling me it's taking a little bit longer than they were expecting. Is there another way we can do this so that, my guys aren't there till 6 o'clock? Because, I've got to get them home, and I'm kind of playing that angle a little bit. Like, I don't want them there. They've got kids. And then they're like, oh yeah, I'm so sorry. Of course. Like, and we figure it out from there. That's why the older clients are my favorite.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
All right. So other than time constraints with customers, what were some of the biggest learnings you gained at the job site?
Biggest things I learned from the job site.
In the beginning, right? Like the
In the
things that you
beginning.
would you would solve for ahead and like not make mistakes in doing.
Yeah, I mean, this is so. Did someone ask me this yesterday? Did Cross ask me on this? Someone asked me something very similar. And I
You
was
said your
like,
biggest problem, and your answer was like this fucking warehouse. And like I'm like we're not in warehouse mode. So like like in the beginning, like what was the things like? Obviously, the time constraint is the big one with customers, but like was there anything like logistically or like organization wise that you impart?
I mean, from a logistics, I think logistics is a big part of this for sure. Where are you going? When are you going to be there? I don't think I was. Man, this is such an interesting question. I don't know why I struggle with this so much. I think it's just because I just don't think about this shit enough. Like if it's a problem, I just solve it and never never make that mistake again. I don't think I really spend a whole lot of time thinking about it.
You're like Dak Prescott, where if you throw 3 interceptions, you just short memory, you move on.
Have you guys seen the show Ted Lasso?
Oh
yeah.
It's the be a goldfish thing, like 100%. I don't think about it. I just move on. I will say, I mean, I'll give you a funny story if this will help maybe a little bit. On the first job we ever did, I had the naivete to think that I could get the job done without a trailer. And huge fucking mistake. Like we went and I was like, yeah, we'll just throw everything in the back of my truck and we'll be good. Oh no. It took me like 6 trips. Like immediately was like, no, we're never doing this again. Because that 4-hour job turned into like 6, 7 easy.
Dang.
Right? So a trailer seems like a non-negotiable to me at this point because I told myself after that first job, we're going to have a trailer at every single job. If they want stuff hauled in, we're going to have a trailer. And sure enough, almost every single job we've done, we've filled that frickin' trailer up. And there's no way we would have survived without it. There's no way.
Transparently, we've been thinking about like renting like U-Haul moving vans, like bigger ones. Because like we don't have a pickup truck to like tow a trailer, and then B, like I don't know about Kyle, but I have like literally zero experience driving with a trailer, backing it up. Like I know there's some stuff to that will take learning.
What a fucking cool video. Like I'm just imagining like he's recording you trying to back up a trailer.
This guy's first time.
This is not working. Like it's such like I think it would be just cool content. It's just good content. People love this stuff.
That's funny.
1 hour later.
Right. Exactly. Just still trying to back it up. Like, we're going to have to come back tomorrow. Like,
I learned how to ride a bike recently, and I called him over to record me to laugh at me. Like, we didn't put it anywhere, but like, I called him over to like record me and like just laugh his ass off while I eat shit.
It's such good content, man. People, this is the other thing too. Like, okay, this is off on a little bit of a tangent, but like the social media stuff, when you get into this, you start getting into the business world, do not fall into the trap that most people fall into, that everything has to be nice and clean and polished. Because it's just not true. Again, my highest performing videos are of me with no fucking haircut. My beard's a mess because I'm bad about trimming this. In my dirty garage saying, hey, if your garage is dirty, let me clean it. Highest performing video. It was not my fucking logo or highly produced commercial, none of that. That was it. That was my highest performing one. And again, I'm seeing it. This is the second now. I have 2 points of there's another lead that just came in. There's 2 points of contact on this now, where the second video I did of me as a selfie in a garage, I'm dirty, wearing a baseball cap, saying if your garage is dirty, let me clean it. It worked again. So, and everything else I've tried, all the nice polished little like AI videos, none of it has worked the same way. So I say that to say, like, as you start getting into this, you really start thinking about, good night. He's already messaging us. Really start thinking about, how do I put who we are as people into this content?
Okay.
Because if you do that, you're going to outplay 90% of people in the space. I'll give you a really good example of this. There's someone in Florida right now who is using my name, my ad copy, and like some of the not exactly videos I've put together, but a lot of the concepts I've put together, and using that on their Instagram, running ads. It's not working because they're not using their face. They won't put their face on it. If they're using like AI videos and AI people, and people don't fall for that shit.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Now, will AI get better? Sure. Yeah, it's going to get real good. But no one's going to have y'all's story.
Right.
Mhm.
Like it's that personal touch, you know, that
100%.
honesty, transparency, the face to a service. Wow.
And even better when you show up and you're the one shaking their hands.
Mm-hmm.
You know? That concept of like, this is like one of those weird pendulum swing things where we went so far into, you know, digital signatures and putting my credit card information and never seeing the person who was like Amazon's a really good example of this. We buy stuff on Amazon and we have no idea who's sending it. No clue. But I think there is this very interesting swing in this other direction that's happening where I want to know who you are. Who am I talking to on the phone? Are you a real fucking person or are you AI? Because if it's AI, I'm hanging up. Like I think there's an interesting place that this stuff is going into, and to really lean into that, I think would put you guys ahead of a lot of people, because most people value the time so much that they will automate away a lot of this stuff. I talked about this 5 years ago when I first started seeing the AI stuff popped up. I warned people, do not over automate what is going to be a personal touch thing, because people are going to start not trusting it. They're not going to respect it. If I make if someone calls my business's phone number, we don't have AI automations. We don't have press 1 for, I don't do any of that shit. Someone answers the damn phone. And I think that's incredibly important, because they're going to trust us more than when they call to get the second quote and they have to be on hold for 10 minutes.
Right.
So speaking of, how did you like do that in the beginning when you had a full-time job and you didn't have employees and stuff like that? Would you know, like, because like even now, like when you have like employees that are on the job and having issues, and like you're in a meeting and you're at your marketing firm, like, or like company, like how are you navigating that stuff?
Yeah, I'll show you. Let me hold on. Let me unpackage this. It's like that. I think it's just a business card holder. Yeah, I'll show you. Sitting in a meeting. Ring, 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 ring. It says Mike, because I know it's a business call. Hey guys, I got to take this. I'll be right back. Literally walk out.
Let's go.
And like walk out the, God, I hope my boss isn't watching. I would walk out the back door and just like real quickly, yeah, like tell me a little bit what's going on. Cool. Let me text you here in a few minutes and I'll send you over some stuff and we can chat about it. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Do I recommend that? No. Right? Like don't get fired. But you just figure it out.
Yeah.
That's it. And it's hard and it sucks and sometimes it's great. It's like having kids. It's awesome and great and awful at the same time.
Yeah.
But we do it because at the end of the day, it's fucking worth it. You know?
Yep. Absolutely.
I compare my business to not my kids, but to like having a kid very often. It's your baby. You feed it, it grows, and you fucking figure it out. And sometimes it sucks, and sometimes it yells at you and gets mad, and then sometimes it's great and it pays your bills. Like, you know. But yeah, you just figure it out. I mean, I would spend a lot of time on the weekends catching up with stuff too, but it was a lot of text messaging. I spent a lot of time texting versus phone calls, because then I can do it at my desk, boom, 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 real quick, and not interrupt every other stuff that's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Last few questions here. Like we have a little bit more operational. Like one is like, what was like your starter supply kit in the beginning? Obviously you had the truck, but like what supplies did you get on like after 60 days? Like did you have like hand trucks and like that type of stuff as well? And I don't know,
like dollies and containers, like
yeah, so it's good. Yeah, I'll tell you what we're using now. What will be helpful? Yeah, dollies are awesome. Having that for big stuff is a big deal. That doesn't happen that often, but yeah, obviously having a dolly in the backup as a just in case is great. Those straps are cool. To pick up big heavy items. Those are also very helpful. Real like we use every single time items. A big push broom, a little broom with a dustpan, I also like to use a leaf blower sometimes. If it's like empty, we'll just like get all the dirt out of it that way. What are some other stuff that we use for organizing stuff? Tape and a Sharpie. Pretty simple. Oh, also, this will be helpful for you guys too. We when we do organizing stuff, or whenever we're pulling stuff out of a garage for the first time, one thing that we've used before in the past, which we've kind of gotten away from, we probably need to get back into, we would have the client come out and label items for us. We would give them a green sticky note or a red sticky note. Green sticky note means it definitely goes back in the garage. Red sticky note means it definitely needs to get out of the garage. And then everything in between. So then what happens is, then my guys are going through and they see green sticky notes. They know for sure that's going back in the garage, and the red stuff is going in the trailer. And then whatever's left over is stuff they need to look at. You know? So that's some stuff we've done before in the past. Those are the big ones. Besides truck and trailer. Gloves.
Yeah.
Gloves.
Yeah.
For sure, gloves.
So I kind of want to touch a little bit on the whole buy and sell aspect of it, right? We know the warehouse
worms here, but yeah, bring it on.
Yeah, we know the warehouse was a big regret, but was the warehouse born out of like a bottleneck for moving inventory? Like was your buy and sell like profitable prior to the warehouse, where it dictated, hey, maybe this is a good opportunity to expand?
Yeah, so 100% it was a bottleneck issue. And this is what I'll tell you. This is what happened. Look, this is answering a question from before, by the way, about like what did I learn? Don't take everything. Right? When we first started, I was like, yeah, we can sell this, we could sell this, we could sell this, and then it never got sold, and it ended up in my storage, and then a second storage, and then a third storage, and then a warehouse, and we just never got around to actually selling this stuff because it's a process. It's a whole nother infrastructure to build out a system to move items of that speed, right? Like, it is a huge amount of infrastructure that has to get built out, especially since, like, one, you're getting a lot of these things for free. So then, like, it's hard to turn stuff down, but then the stuff that you're getting is sometimes hard to move, right? So we got to a place now where I'm not accepting any new items until we get our stuff cleaned out. We're just not. We're leaving money on the table, but in the end, it's going to make more sense for us because we can get out of this overhead, right? I've got to get out of these storage units. I've got to get out of this warehouse. We've got to find a better system for this. My thought is, instead of the warehouse and the storage units, what I'm probably going to end up doing is open a thrift shop.
Oh,
Interesting.
Because we get so much stuff. And like, it would make sense very quickly for me to just hire someone to hang out at the shop all day, and then we're just bringing them inventory.
Yeah.
Huh.
Makes sense. Yeah, I think I saw like on one of your reels you had like $40 whatever you can carry or something like that, and I was like, that's got to be one. I was like, yo, help me.
Yeah, hey, that worked, by the way. We had a lot of people come. They were like, yeah, I'll take it. We'll take some stuff.
Nice.
But yeah, that is 100%. We're in that mode right now. We're just trying to get everything out.
Okay. And then like, what do operations like with your staff look like? Like the transition from like owning all the operations, and like, are you like, and now you delegate things obviously, but are you like still like managing, like running team meetings with the team and like kind of like doing that like sort of level of check-in with your employees, like kind of vibe?
No, I don't do. I mean, it's funny, team meetings. We probably should do more of those. I'm not big on meetings. I've never been a meetings guy. For me, it's like, I'll check in. Everything going well? Have any issues? Can I help? And that's it. Now the team meetings thing, there's a lot of benefit to that for sure. But most of the time what happened, I'll tell you a really funny story. Janelle she's my sales person now. She manages all the sales stuff. And my guy that was running the crew were working really, really well together for a while. She was getting the leads coming in. She would call them. She would text them, get the quotes booked. Isaiah would go and do the quotes. The job would get scheduled. They would go do the job. And at one point, I asked Janelle something, like checking in. And she basically told me, go away. We got this. right? And it was the proudest moment of my life because that's what you want. You want them to be like you don't want, like, if you have to be in there and checking in on them to get them to do shit,
Mhm.
you don't
You're
have
not
a
right.
business.
Yeah.
You just don't. So for me, like, it's always about trust and just kind of empowering them to do that and saying, like, she would ask me a question that, like, I knew she had the answer to, but she was just checking with me. Like, you get this a lot. This is a good one. We need to clip the shit out of this. Employers get this a lot, where employees will ask a question not because they don't know the answer, but because they're looking for validation that the answer they thought was right was correct. And they're looking to cover their ass a little bit, right? The trick as an employer to solve this is don't answer it. What do you think?
Yeah.
So Janelle would ask me, hey, what about blah, 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 blah? You don't need me. You know the answer to that. Don't ask. You got this. And then boom, she would go do it. And then guess what? Never asked again. Never had to. She never had to ask in the first place. She just wanted me to say, yeah, do it. And the same thing with the guys on the truck too. They'll ask me, what do you think about X, Y, and Z? I don't give a shit. Get it done. You got this. You don't need me. And once they're empowered enough to do that, then they're on their own. But guess what? Here's another one for clip to go over everybody. They're going to fuck up like everybody else. They're going to fuck up, and you got to be okay with that. Right? Same thing with business partners, by the way. Your guys someone's going to fuck up.
Oh,
right?
I know.
It's straight up.
It's happened many times in our lives where we fucked up for each other. Too many jobs where we fucked up.
What happened?
And I think that's the big thing, man. Like, it's just, you got to trust them the same way you trust anybody. Like, you don't trust them like family, obviously, but as close as humanly possible. Because when you deploy that kind of trust against somebody, a couple things happen. Number one, they respect the shit out of it, right? You're not micromanaging every little second of their day. You stop treating them like they're fucking children, and they'll start acting like adults. Too many people get into that where they're micromanaging everything, and then, like, you wonder why nothing gets done. Well, because they don't want to move. They don't want to breathe unless you tell them it's okay, right? So that's probably, like, the big thing on that is when you hire someone and you feel it, and you're like, yeah, this guy's going to work, well, then let them work. Huge. And it's easy to say, hard to do.
Right.
Especially when it's your money on the line.
Because it's not like Isaiah was your guy, and so, like, you got that sense with him, and then, like, I imagine that, like, you were doing the quotes and things like that, and then eventually it was training him how to do it.
Yeah, I slowly pushed that on him. Yeah. Hey, will you go do this quote for me? And then he would go, and he would ask some questions that he didn't know the answer to, and I'd answer him. And then over time, he was like, he would just go and did it. And him and Janelle, like I said, they were meshing really well. He would send over videos. They would chat about it a little bit. Janelle would know. They would send the quote. Boom. And it was so cool seeing a job would come in. I would see it because I get my notifications on my phone still. I would see a quote or a lead come in. I would see, quote request scheduled. And then a couple hours later, I would see, quote sent, and then quote approved, and then, like, I see the whole life cycle without ever having to talk to anybody. That's the goal. That's what you want to happen. So yeah, I mean, you just again, I'll ramble on this shit. It's trust. It's trust.
And was that all a Jobber? Dude, like, you saw all that?
Yeah, great question. No, everything I use right now is Jobber. I'm new to the home service industry, so I don't know what else is out there. I love Jobber, though. I've used a lot of CRMs in the past for other stuff. Jobber's my favorite.
Okay.
Cool.
Maybe, like, just a, like, final, like, entrepreneurial kind of vibe, like, just when making, like, the decisions on the direction of your business, like, do you have a core set of questions you ask yourself to check if it's taking you in the right direction?
Rephrase that question for me.
Yeah, like, you you talked previously about having like 5 channels that you're sort of managing, obviously, and like you're thinking about like for me, I feel like we're a little bit aligned. Like I'm a risk taker. I have all these like pie in the sky kind of ideas that like, and I recall listening to others like Gary Vee and others like where it's like, well, sometimes you can get lost in that, and like do you like how do you navigate that? Like the ADD mind and like wanting to do this thing and that thing and that thing. Like, is there like kind of like a core value of like, all right, like here's the questions I need to ask myself about this thing, and does that directly take me where I want, and then putting my energy into it? Like, how do you establish?
No, this is a fucking great question. And it's real bad for us with ADD, right? Because we do see it's very shiny. Where do we go? Where are we going? I will say, I think I recently read a book. It's called The Science of Scaling. I don't know if you guys have heard this book before. Read it. It's great, fantastic, but it talks a lot about, and I'm real into this. It talks about separating the signal from the noise.
Yeah.
This is how it defines it. And you can take that in several different ways. When you're building a business early on, trying to decide what the best use of your time is can be difficult at first. Because you're trying to, like, you got to go to the job, you got to talk to the client, you got to send the invoice, you got to send the quotes. But then figuring out what is the one thing, and this is a great question to ask, what is the one thing that I could do? Like if there was only one job I was given that would drive the business forward the most, what would it be? And that is a question you have to ask yourself consistently because it changes. For a long time, for me, that answer was, I have to make sure these fucking jobs get done. Because if the jobs don't get done, I don't have a business, right? Then it started shifting to, I need to make sure that these quotes get followed up with ASAP because we're losing sales because we're not answering quick enough, right? And it's constantly shifting on what's the most valuable use of our time. And then it goes back to hiring, finding someone or automation, hiring or automation. How do I find someone to fill that gap when I leave it so I never have to worry about it again, right? So my big gap was the crews for a while, them going to do the jobs. Once I knew they were going to get the jobs done, man, I was laser focused on sales. Laser focused. And now it's funny, I'm in a different direction now where crews taken care of, although funny enough, I'm going to have to circle back and fix that problem now. But I know how to solve that now, so I'll get that fixed. Sales is solved because Janelle's kicking ass on that. Well, now my thing is, how do I get to 25 locations by the end of the year? That's my like laser pointer focus on that is what do I need to do to get that done? That branches off into like, there are 50 fucking ways I could get that done. How do I determine that? It's the same thing. Like, this worked, this didn't, and you just slowly refine it down. But that's the big thing is like, that's the advice I would give. What's the question you should ask yourself every fucking day? If I could do one thing today to drive the business forward the most, that would give us the biggest amount of like push forward, what is it? And then do that thing and make sure at least that thing gets done that day. That's how I think about it. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Sort of,
yeah.
Maybe?
No, that's gold. That's okay. Exactly what we're looking for. Just how to cut through the noise.
And it's fucking hard too though, because like, I mean, if you're saying you're ADD, you get it. Like, it is nonstop. What am I doing with my life? Even now, I think about me having like, I was telling someone the other day, I feel like I'm juggling 5 lives right now. I have my family, I have my full-time gig, I have the crew here, I have the license because I've got several locations already open that I'm trying to manage, and then I'm doing a podcast now too. Like it's so much. It's just constantly juggling, and I think the trick is, and Gary says this a lot, is to like not judge yourself when you fuck up. Because like I'm gonna fucking drop the ball somewhere. I'm not Superman. Somewhere something's gonna give and something's gonna break, And when it does, I just have to be ready to pick the pieces up. Fuck yeah, clip that.
Yeah.
Yep, I like that.
Let's go.
Yep.
Appreciate that. Whew. Man, we knocked out or I mean, I think we knocked out our list.
Yeah,
I think.
we got no.
Hell
Man.
yeah.
Yeah, really appreciate this.
Yeah,
we're
thank you.
we're inspired by your story. I feel like we're really on kind of like the same vibe in terms of like where we're at in life and just wanting something different and doing it, doing it in our own way. And yeah, man, I can't express enough gratitude for
Yeah,
your
man,
time.
of course. I'm fucking pumped for y'all. This is so cool. And it's funny when you say, when I hear this a lot, like, I don't know if you said it just now, but it's the vibe I got, which is like, oh, I'm so inspired by your story or some shit like that. And it's so weird to me because, like, I don't feel that. You know, like, I don't even know what I'm supposed to feel. But I say that because, like, my story's not fucking special. And I guess it's like, it's the Incredibles paradox. Have you seen the movie The Incredibles?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
That line is so fucking deep. When everyone's special, no one is.
Mhm.
I think that's really the trick here is like, yeah, my story's unique, but like, so is everybody else's, you know? And so I think about this for y'all, like y'all have such a unique thing. You guys are, I don't know how long you guys have been friends. Like you're at different places with your family life. The story is unique, but it isn't, you know? Like I have a funny feeling there's 50 million other people that have the exact same story. You know what I mean? So this goes back to like the content you guys put together. I think could be huge. You guys, whatever you guys have going on, you could take it on the road.
Yeah. I'm with that. Cool, man. Well, hey, if you ever find yourself out in Seattle, you and your wife want to do a rerun of the honeymoon kind of thing, just look us up, man. Find me on Facebook. We'd happy to show you around the city the right way, all the above. But yeah, really appreciate the time, and it's been a blast. It's something we would have never dreamed of being a part of, and yeah, we're really thankful.
Of course, man. I'm pumped for you guys. Let me know if y'all need anything. You guys have. Thank you guys for agreeing to this too. By the way, this is awesome. Good luck. Stay in touch. Let me know how it goes, and enjoy Vegas.
That's right.
Definitely.
Yeah, we will.
Appreciate
right.
you.
Y'all
All
have
right,
a
my
good
friend.
one, man.
Yeah, take care.
All right, take care.
What a great one. Oh, let me get out of this. Boop. What? That was so good. So good. So many good pieces came out of that. Man, I'm in such a weird mood now. That was so cool. That was fun to watch. It was fun to get into that with them. And really, again, back to this whole thing where like nobody's story is really that special. It's just not. But it's special enough, like, we just like stories. As human beings, we fucking love stories. And so I think it's important for people to fucking tell them. I'm going to give you a really good example, and I hope she sees this. My friend, I have a friend of mine who, she's one of the funniest human beings I've ever met in my life. She's probably not watching. She's one of the funniest human beings I've ever met in my life, and I keep telling her she could be a comedian. And like, she just doesn't see herself that way. I don't think. Maybe she does. Maybe she's afraid. Maybe she's just busy. But there's so many people out there that have some cool shit going on in their lives. They have a cool story. They've come through all this adversity, or they're funny, or maybe they're really good at motivating people, or like, I don't know. There's just so much out there. So many people have so much to give. And I'm so pumped about this, especially for those two guys. Hopefully when they get back to Vegas, back from Vegas, they're not wiped out. But I think they're gonna go somewhere with that. I'm super pumped about this. Thank you guys for watching. I'm drained from that. So